The 10 best fragrances for men that nobody else is wearing. You want to smell good, but you don't want to smell like everybody else out there. Some of these are sleepers, some of these are underrated gems, and some of them brand new, which is one of the reasons why nobody's wearing these. And why does everyone these days have to hold a microphone all the way through a video? There's absolutely no need to hold one of those microphones. I think people are just hiding behind them, if I'm honest. I would never do that. And even if I did, I'd at least do it properly. Stay tuned to FM. Let me just tell you a couple of things about microphones. The first is that yes, this is the best microphone you've ever seen. The other thing is you don't need to hold a microphone. There are plenty of other ways to utilize your microphone for good audio. You can boom your microphone just out of shot. You can wear it on your clothing. They have clips on them and magnets, or you can even hide it underneath your clothing and look even more professional. Stop holding your microphones in the videos. Just kidding, you can do whatever you want with your microphone. Anyway, let's get into the fragrances. These are the ones that I turn to when I want to smell different to everybody else, but I don't want to smell out there. I don't want to smell too complex, too complicated, too challenging. I still want to smell mass appealing. Well, I've picked 10 fragrances that I probably really should be gatekeeping, but I've decided to recommend them to you if you want to smell a little bit different, but you still want to smell good. The first one is a brand new release in Armani's Privé line, Orange Mediterranee. The notes in this are bitter orange, citron, tea, lemon, bergamot, fennel, bay leaf and geranium. As you might guess from the name, this is orangey and Mediterranean-y, but this is a very classy smell. It's got a gentlemanly cologne sort of smell, a little bit like that fresh, clean Acqua di Parma type of smell, so very refined and sophisticated. But this is a little bit different because it's got a tea note, a little bit of a frosted iced tea. This is a new release and I think it's going to be amazing for the summer. So if you want to smell a little bit different to everyone else's fresh summer choice, if you want to smell a little more elevated, this is a good one. We're going to stick with a very classy, gentlemanly cologne. And what brand does that better than the very British Floris? This is Elite. It's been in Floris's lineup for a while, since 1980 in fact. There's bergamot, juniper, cedar, petitgrain, grapefruit, fir, lavender, bay leaf, oak moss, leather, cedar, vetiver, amber, patchouli and musk. Almost too many notes to read in one breath. So this one has been around for a little while. It definitely does have a vintage, masculine, very gentlemanly cologne sort of smell to it, a little bit barbershop, you know, walk into an old school London barbershop or even a tailor's and they're smelling like this. It's recently had a re-release. I'm not sure if they've tweaked it to make it smell more modern or not. I never smelled the original version of this, but this definitely still is a timeless sort of smell and works just as well in 2026 as it has done in any other point in time. It's a very assertive masculine smell, and I hear you say, Chris, you're probably just going to include loads of niche fragrances that no one can afford in this video, which is why no one else is wearing them. Well, that may be true for some of them, but it's not always the case, and that is the case with this one because I've seen this online, 100 ml for £55. That's cheaper than most other fragrances on the market, but a fragrance of this quality from this brand, that's a steal. One of my favourite niche brands has just released a new fragrance. It's a banger. I can't stop wearing this. It's called the Whispering Oud from Kajal Fragrances. Hold tight for these notes. We've got dried fruits, tobacco leaf, French pastries, leather, rose, oud, honey, Peru balsam, tonka bean and musks. I feel like the musks are quite important in this because it is a very sort of sensual, sexy, musky scent. The dried fruit, like dried dates, just works so well with a little bit of tobacco, the sweeter notes, and the pastry, the French bakery, fresh pastries in a French patisserie with an oud backbone anchoring everything and giving this some attitude. This is an absolutely stunning fragrance, and I can guarantee if you wear this, not only are you going to smell amazing, like 10 out of 10 amazing, no one else is going to be wearing this, so I would grab it if you can. I've included this fragrance because when you go out and you ask people what they're wearing, not that you would, but if you did, you'd probably hear a lot of Dior's, a lot of Chanel's, that sort of thing. But I don't think you would really find anyone that says, I'm wearing Zaharoff, which is why you should be wearing Zaharoff's Seraphim Cousse. This is a big old spicy one. There's fresh cardamom, pepper, nutmeg, bergamot, iris, truffle, magnolia, vetiver and sandalwood. And that's before we've even mentioned Bushman Candle. I love a Bushman Candle fragrance, and in my experience this is probably one of the best because I know exactly what Bushman Candle is. Okay, I looked it up. It's actually a resin, and I think this does add a resinous depth. This is quite a dark fragrance, full of attitude. It's got a bit of fresh spiciness, but also a bit of dark spiciness, but there's a lovely gentlemanly streak running through this. It might be to do with the iris. It's not a powdery lipsticky iris at all, not like the Dior Homme fragrances. This commands attention. It's a head turner. It's gonna fill a room. If you want to make a statement with your fragrance and you want to do it with a fragrance that nobody else is wearing, Seraphim Kuss from Zaharoff. If you love fragrance as much as I do, head over to my online store, luxparfum.co.uk. You'll find my favourite brands, plus brands you can't find anywhere else in the UK. Link is in the description. This is a new release for 2026. It's from the brand Chloe. It's from one of my favourite perfumers, Quentin Biche, and he's probably the most prolific perfumer at the moment. Every other fragrance coming out is a Quentin Biche, and to be fair, he's doing some good work. They're all hits. Vert Soleil in Chloe's Atelier des Fleurs collection. This is a bright green, fresh, just slightly earthy, woody fragrance inspired by the Mediterranean. A lot of people, if they want to wear something orangey and woody and fresh and clean and aromatic, might be going for Terre de Mes. If you don't want to smell like every other bro wearing Terre de Mes, I can highly recommend Vert Soleil because it's a slightly cleaner, even fresher version of that. Terre de Mes does have a little bit of a dirty edge. This doesn't have that. Clean, fresh, easy to wear. This was £115 when it was first released. It's not that old, but the price has now already gone down. You can get this for about £92 at Space NK. I would highly recommend going into the store, smelling this brand, smelling this particular fragrance, and see if it works for you, because I think that's a pretty good price. Going back to something a little bit more quintessentially gentlemanly from Hugh Parsons, Piccadilly. Lemon, rosemary, cedar, lavender, vetiver, musk, amber and tonka bean. I wouldn't say the smell of this is that typical gentleman's barbershop shaving foam sort of smell. This is a bright, sparkling, fruity sort of gentlemanly smell. But all that good, clean, bright stuff seems to be anchored with something. There's a bit of backbone to this fragrance, giving it some attitude. I'm not sure whether it's the cedar, the vetiver, or a combination, but there is something strong. There's a good strong through line running through this, which I love. One of the reasons no one else is going to be wearing this is because it's only available in Fortnum & Mason, so just a very limited number of people own this fragrance. The price is good, £95 for 100 ml. For a fragrance that is niche of this quality, again, another steal. We're going for a rose fragrance next, and even though there's rose in the name of this, it doesn't actually smell that rosy to me. Faux de Rose from Reservation Parfums. Cloves, nutmeg, rose, labdanum, amyris, leather, styrax, cedar and sandalwood are the notes. This one is so good. I don't really find the rose in there, but what I do get is a very warm, spicy, resinous leather fragrance, but it's not too heavy, it's not too complex. I still think it is very wearable, but it's still complex and interesting enough to make a statement. And I can pretty much guarantee that if you go out wearing this fragrance, not only are you going to smell good, but you're not going to smell anyone else wearing this. So if you want something a little bit darker, something that turns heads, have a look at Faux de Rose from Reservation Parfums. Sticking with rose for this one, unlike the previous one, the rose is definitely more prominent in this, but it's a very modern, very interesting rose from quite new brand L'Entrepiste. Encens Noir has blackcurrant, aldehydes, cucumber, coriander, rose, peony, magnolia, incense, lots of it, vetiver, opoponax, birch, patchouli, and caramel. This brand is from perfumer Bertrand Duchefort. The brand aims to create disorder and disrupt, and you can definitely tell it does that because they're disrupting the straight bottle aspect of fragrances, because this has a bit of a wonky bottle, but I like it. This is a stunning, complex, beautiful fragrance. The rose is there, but it smells very modern. There's no spices listed in this one, but it smells like a spicy, very assertive, more masculine rose fragrance to me, actually. It could be the incense doing that. I love this. It's quite new to me. I'm going out for dinner on Saturday evening. This is going to be my fragrance of choice because when I walk into that restaurant, I want to create disorder and I want to disrupt everyone else's fragrance because I'm pretty sure no one else in that restaurant will be wearing this. Let's talk about a real old money style fragrance now. This is from Norton & Wilson and they called it Old Money. Loads going on, but a few of the prominent notes are orange, aldehydes, juniper berries, tobacco, dried fruits, and bourbon whiskey. I'm in love with this fragrance. I think Dan, aka Mr. Smelly Norton, created this fragrance for me because he put some of my favorite notes in: tobacco, boozy notes, and the cherry on top of all those great notes is cherry. For me, cherry is a note that works beautifully with boozy accords, with tobacco accords, and this fragrance definitely does smell like money. It smells like someone who is very confident, very sure of themselves, dresses accordingly, and wants to smell like they've got their cherries together. Great release from Norton & Wilson. If you want to smell like you've got your cherries together, but you don't want to smell like anybody else, go for Old Money. Finally, we're onto a fragrance that I just discovered recently, but it blew me away. And I don't think anyone else is going to be wearing this. And one of the main reasons for that is it smells very similar to one of my all-time favorite fragrances that is now no longer available. Nobody can buy it. Size doesn't matter when you're talking about a smell this big. From Boadicea the Victorious, Harmonious. Ambrette, cognac, rum, cardamom, cinnamon, saffron, iris, rose, leather, and sandalwood. This really reminds me of the masterpiece Dior Homme Parfum, the original version, not the current reformulation that doesn't smell anything like this at all. But with this, you get that iris, you get the leather, there's a little bit of oud and rose, but what this has that Dior Homme Parfum doesn't is that extra little bit of booziness. If you wanted to wear one of the best fragrances ever created in the history of the world, but you can't buy it because it's discontinued, then Harmonious from Boadicea the Victorious is going to get you there and then some. Alright, those are my picks for fragrances that I think smell sublime, and yet other people will obviously be wearing them, but I don't think they're common enough that most places that you go where there are other people wearing fragrances, I don't think you'll smell other people wearing these ones. So if you want to smell different but amazing, all of these recommendations in this video are definitely ones for you to check out. Let me know what your go-to fragrances are when you want to smell ridiculously good but different to anybody else in the room. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, you know what to do by now. Give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do all that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, bye, and stay tuned to FM.